Our first guest tonight is an Academy Award-nominated actor you know from films such as No Country for Old Men, Inherent Vice, and Sicario. He's hosting Saturday Night Live this Saturday, March 9th, with musical guest Ariana Grande. And he's also starring in Dune Part 2, which is in theaters and IMAX now. Let's take a look.
How many men with you?
200.
200? Do you realize what you were able to achieve with 200 men? Incredible fighters. Duncan said there were millions of them.
In the Deep South. Yes.
Well, what are you waiting for? With thousands of these guys, you could take control of the entire planet. It's your father's dream. What are you afraid of?
Please welcome back to the show our friend Josh Brolin. Welcome back, friend.
That's some serious drumming, man.
Yeah, we got some
drumming.
real action here.
I want to give you a shirt,
A T-shirt.
a T-shirt from, I'll show it to those guys first.
All right, yeah, show it over to that camera right there.
It is
there,
a
that one.
Choose Love T-shirt, and it's an amalgamation of 3 different characters: the Goonies, Thanos,
And No Country.
and No Country.
There you go. Very nice. Choose Love. Choose Love is a wonderful organization. Tell us a little bit about what Choose Love does.
Choose Love, anti-war. Anti-war, that's what I'll say.
That's pretty good. Let's keep it right there. I don't think anybody can be pro.
I think at some point during our interview, I want to put on the shirt, but I don't know at what point I'll want to do it. So
Okay,
it'll
well
just kinda
let
randomly
the
happen.
shirt speak to you. And
Yeah. Hi, Seth.
I just want to mention real quick because we've talked about Goonies before and how people still bring it up to you.
They do.
I was recently, I want to say it was on I can't remember. I'm not going to name the airline because I don't want people to get excited and start booking flights hoping they'll get Goonies on the plane. But Goonies was one of the movies on a flight. I
Right.
mean, you had to choose it. It wasn't just like for everybody. But a lot of people, I was walking up and down the aisles. I was watching Goonies. I feel like a lot of people were like, I'm going to watch Goonies again. Goonies holds up.
Goonies holds up.
And Goonies is insane.
Goonies holds up?
Goonies holds up. And for a kid's movie, Goonies is insane.
It's insane. And now it's at that point where it's like, I'm old enough now where the son has had sons or daughters.
Yeah.
So it's like 9 generations later, and I'm still like, they were like, oh my God, that's the guy. And I'm like, you know.
Now, first of all, congratulations on Dune 2, but
Thank
you
you.
had a massive week.
You know, it's really easy. I mean, it kind of goes into the Goonies thing because Goonies, I did the Goonies and I thought that that's how my career was going to go.
Yeah, just Goonies after Goonies after, yeah.
I thought that's how movies were made.
Yeah.
Like every director was going to be Spielberg and Dick Donner and all that. And then I realized, I did Thrashing after that, which it was different.
Yeah.
And then I did Michael Landon's Highway to Heaven, an episode, and then I left for Europe because I had to leave because it just wasn't the same. Anyway, so after 20 years, I was a working actor, but I didn't work very much. So after 20 years, you're on the street and people are like, I love you in Goonies. And after 20 years, you go like, I'm ready for something else.
To be loved for something else.
Make up a name, like rename Goonies.
Yeah, right.
And then No Country happened. And
Yeah.
changed after
And it was and then, No Country, Sicario, those movies are they're so rewatchable in a great way, and I feel like the Dune movies are the same thing. With that said, Dune is such a hit, I feel like we don't have to over-promote it right now,
No, but I will say this. My family went back. My family's been with me the whole time. They almost always are. But they went back for a couple of days before I do SNL, and so they were on the plane, and she was on the plane with Dave Bautista, and she said, everybody is watching Dune in every seat I'm passing. And I said, even Dave Bautista? And she said, no, he's watching Bluey. And that's not me making something up.
That's
the truth.
wonderful. I like, by the way, you knew to ask about Dave, and she knew to check.
Yeah.
I think that. So this is crazy. I mean, this is, obviously, if you've seen Dune, you know these beautiful vistas, but it is pretty trippy to see your kids. You brought your kids.
I did.
And there they are. I mean, this is, talk about a cool set to be on. That's outstanding. Do they have a good
But look
time?
at this, though. They had a great time, and this is a 900-foot dune. I mean, that's 900 feet. I climb that every day in order to stay in shape.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought I'd be fine, and then I got to work and I wasn't fine. I was
Yeah.
eating a lot of donuts and.
Do you think like now, like when you get back to California, you're gonna have a dune put in your backyard? Just for
Yeah,
the-
no, but seriously, that's the way you think. That's the way one thinks. That's
Yeah.
the way a twisted actor thinks. You go like, I'm gonna stay in this shape for the rest of my life. I feel great.
Yeah.
This is all, and then you get back and they say, what would you like to order? And you go, you know what? I'll have a double chimichanga.
Yeah. And there are no dunes here.
No.
Talk about there are movies. SNL sketches are just like movies. Sometimes they're Goonies, sometimes they're thrashing.
Yeah.
This was a Goonies. You were in the very first Californians.
Yeah.
Which is, this is a real iconic. If we're talking about the last sort of 15 years of SNL, this is as good as it gets. And it was one of the great sketches, I think, for hosts to do because it was so fun. It just seemed like.
You know that Bill and Fred, they used to do it at the round table.
Yeah.
And they never actually asked Lorne to do it. And because I'm the staunch Californian, they were like, this is the perfect time.
You
to
were
do
the
that.
perfect guy to carry Californians.
And I was the only guy, because I'm truly like a staunch Californian, I'm the only guy that has a different voice than everybody else because I thought everybody else was it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel bad for, say, Europeans who watch the Californians and
Yeah.
think that's how they sound.
But they do. But they do. Apparently, I'm the only one who doesn't know from California that we sound like this.
Well, it's very lucky that you like to play ball as opposed to be offended by how they were.
No. I love to play
Yeah.
ball. Offended is not in my vocabulary.
Yeah, this
No.
was, and again, this was a hit.
I'm an actor.
And I think it's really nice when you get to be a host on the show that is there for the beginning of a franchise like the Californians. And then there was another sketch. You were in the first and only Fart Face.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And how is that the only time Fart Face ever... every time I see Bill now, he was like, how great was that? I go, I know, but
Yeah.
why didn't it continue?
Well, maybe you were having too much fun to notice not a single human laughed during the whole. And by the way, I say this as a fan of Fart Face. But you've
you
entered.
see how they laughed and then they shut up really quick?
Yeah.
Because you were like...
They don't want it. They're worried
Yeah. That was like a Sicario moment. They were like, oh, he's in Sicario.
Did you? Because now Bill has entered you into the legend because it did not play particularly good at dress.
Right.
And it
I
made the
love
show.
that you remember this, yeah.
Bill loved it.
Yeah.
Will loved it. You loved it. Fart Face.
Yeah.
And
No, I did.
do you know what Bill said you said to him and Will right before air?
What?
Do you? Okay. He said,
don't.
you go, all right, gentlemen, let's shut these mother up.
Meaning?
Meaning this is
Oh,
not.
no, I do remember that.
Yeah, you knew it was gonna bomb. The three of you were like, there's no way this is gonna play.
We said that right behind the wall, right before we
Yes.
walked in. Literally, it was like 3, 2, let's shut this up. And then Bill was like, what are you doing?
But it is, I mean,
I like
that,
reality
that
like
is the
that.
legend of it, is it was just like three guys who were like, we're gonna do our thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna love it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be for anybody today.
Right.
But it will grow in legend over time.
Yes.
Can I tell you, I feel like you're gonna put the t-shirt on.
I feel like
Yeah. Can I put mine on? Can I put mine on? Right. Oh, you gonna take your shirt off? Yeah, you take your shirt off. I know. Thank you. That's great. Yeah. I see-
love that I'm no Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. I see right through. You were like, I want to do something to make everybody forget about Fartface.
Yeah, I do. I did. I had like a reaction. I was like, let's go back to California.
It must be, I mean, seriously, to go back to, it's so exciting. A movie like Dune and Dune 2, everybody feels like they have to see it on the big screen. It is a real reminder of the fun of seeing movies together. And I mean, in this day and age, it's so exciting when a movie actually does great at the box office. It must be such a cool
There's
thing.
an old school feeling that I really started to miss. And I know COVID happened and a lot of stuff has happened. And people, you know, you have these huge screens in your living room and all that, but there's a feeling when I saw E.T., when I saw 2001, when I saw Jaws, and you're in the theater and those lights go down, you have the Milk Duds, you eat the Milk Duds too fast, you pass out because of a sugar high and crash, and then you open your eyes at the end of the beginning credits, and you have this incredible experience.
Yeah.
And you don't want to rob people of that incredible experience. And I snuck into Lincoln Center Dune yesterday at 12:15.
Did you really?
I did.
Wow.
And I've seen it a few times. I saw an early version, and then I saw it with like fans in Mexico and this. And it's a different thing because every time Zendaya comes up, it's like Taylor Swift has showed up at your living room, and and then I got to see it, and they were locked in, man. They were locked in. It was this amazing communal experience. I'll shut up now, but it was an amazing experience.
Did anybody clock you, or did you get away with your anonymity?
No, which is, first of all, I get away with my anonymity all the time anyway, but nobody cared because they were enjoying them. They were immersed in the movie so much. I could have said, hey, I'm hosting SNL this next week. Does anybody care? And then literally nothing.
Good job. You guys did a great job of doing an impression of the Dune audience. Great to see you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Josh Brolin, everybody, Dune Part 2 is in theaters and IMAX now. SNL returns this Saturday at 11:30 p.m. on NBC and Peacock with host Josh Brolin, music guest Ariana Grande. Stick around, we'll be right back.